There are few places left on Earth that still feel truly distant. Places where mountains rise untouched from the sea, where ancient forests cover valleys older than human civilization, where birds evolved without fear of predators, and where entire cultures developed in isolation at the very edge of the known world. Far away in the South Pacific Ocean, more than 2,000 kilometers from the nearest major landmass, lies a nation unlike any other. A country forged by volcanoes, shaped by earthquakes, protected by oceans, and defined by one of the most extraordinary natural landscapes on Earth. This is New Zealand, a land of dramatic fjords, snow-covered peaks, steaming geothermal valleys, and dense rainforests. A place where modern cities coexist with wilderness, where indigenous traditions remain deeply woven into national identity, and where nature still commands respect. For millions around the world, New Zealand is a dream destination, but beyond the postcards and travel advertisements lies a much deeper story. A story of survival, isolation, discovery, and adaptation. This is the story of a nation that emerged at the edge of the world. This is New Zealand, the most isolated nation. To understand New Zealand, we must first understand its isolation. Looking at a map, New Zealand appears almost detached from the rest of humanity. To the west lies Australia, more than 2,000 kilometers away. To the east stretches the endless Pacific Ocean. To the south lies Antarctica. And to the north, thousands of kilometers of open sea separate New Zealand from Asia. Few countries on Earth are as geographically isolated. For centuries, this isolation shaped every aspect of life here. Plants evolved differently. Animals evolved differently. And eventually, people would develop their own unique culture as well. New Zealand consists primarily of two major islands, the North Island and the South Island. Together, they stretch across more than 1,600 kilometers. Despite their relatively small size, these islands contain an astonishing diversity of landscapes. Snow-covered mountains, active volcanoes, glaciers, subtropical forests, golden beaches, and some of the wettest regions on Earth. Scientists often describe New Zealand as a miniature continent, and in many ways, that description is accurate, because New Zealand is actually the visible part of a much larger submerged continent known as Zealandia. Millions of years ago, Zealandia broke away from the ancient supercontinent Gondwana. Over time, most of it sank beneath the ocean. Only a small portion remained above water. That surviving fragment became modern New Zealand. The result was a biological laboratory unlike anywhere else on Earth, separated from other land masses for tens of millions of years. New Zealand evolved in near complete isolation, and the consequences of that isolation can still be seen today. A world without predators. Imagine a land without large land mammals. No wolves, no lions, no bears, no deer, no monkeys. For millions of years, New Zealand was exactly that. Before humans arrived, there were almost no native land mammals here. Instead, birds became the dominant form of animal life. Without predators to fear, many birds lost the ability to fly. Some grew enormous in size. Others adapted to life on the forest floor. Among the most famous is the kiwi. Small, nocturnal, and found nowhere else on Earth. The kiwi became a symbol of the nation itself. So much so that New Zealanders are often referred to simply as Kiwis. But the kiwi was only one member of an extraordinary ecosystem. There were giant eagles capable of hunting massive prey, flightless birds taller than humans, ancient reptiles whose ancestors lived alongside dinosaurs, and forests unlike any found elsewhere. This unique environment evolved over millions of years. Yet, it would change dramatically within only a few centuries, because eventually, humans arrived. And with them came a new chapter in New Zealand's history. The first people. For thousands of years, New Zealand remained one of the last major landmasses on Earth without human inhabitants. Then, everything changed. Around 700 years ago, skilled Polynesian navigators crossed vast stretches of open ocean, using stars, ocean currents, wind patterns, and generations of knowledge. They traveled thousands of kilometers across the Pacific, eventually reaching these isolated islands. These explorers became the ancestors of the Maori people. Their arrival marked one of humanity's greatest achievements in navigation. Without modern instruments, without maps, without engines, they crossed some of the largest oceans on Earth and found a remote land hidden beyond the horizon. The Maori named the country Aotearoa, often translated as the land of the long white cloud. According to tradition, early explorers first spotted long clouds hanging above the islands, a sign that land was nearby. For the Maori, New Zealand was not an empty wilderness. It was a living world filled with spiritual meaning. Mountains were ancestors. Rivers carried stories. Forests contained sacred connections between people and nature. Over time, tribes established settlements across both islands. Communities developed distinct identities. Complex social systems emerged, and a vibrant culture flourished. One rooted in family, tradition, storytelling, and deep respect for the natural world. The Maori world. Life in early Maori society required adaptation. The environment was rich, but survival was never guaranteed. Communities relied heavily on fishing, bird hunting, agriculture, and gathering resources from forests and coastlines. Sweet potatoes became an important crop, known as kumara. They were carefully cultivated across many regions. Fishing provided essential protein, and coastal settlements thrived along rivers and shorelines. Warfare occasionally occurred between tribes, but so did trade, marriage alliances, and cultural exchange. Knowledge passed from generation to generation through oral tradition. Stories preserved history, legends explained the landscape, and songs carried cultural memory. One of the most recognizable elements of Maori culture is the haka. Today, millions recognize it from international rugby matches. But historically, the haka served many purposes. It could welcome visitors, celebrate achievements, honor ancestors, or prepare warriors for battle. Far more than a performance. The haka remains a powerful expression of identity and unity. Another important tradition was carving. Skilled artists transformed wood into masterpieces filled with symbolism. Every line, every shape, every pattern carried meaning. These carvings told stories of ancestors, heroes, and tribal history. Throughout New Zealand, evidence of Maori heritage remains visible today, not as relics of the past, but as living traditions, still practiced, still respected, and still evolving. The arrival of Europeans. For centuries, the Maori world remained largely isolated from Europe. Then, in 1642, Dutch explorer Abel Tasman arrived. His voyage marked the first recorded European encounter with New Zealand. The meeting was brief and violent. Several members of Tasman's crew were killed during a confrontation with local Maori. As a result, European interest remained limited. More than a century passed before another major encounter occurred. In 1769, British explorer James Cook arrived. Unlike Tasman, Cook spent considerable time mapping the coastline. His voyages transformed European understanding of the Pacific. Suddenly, New Zealand was no longer an unknown land. Maps improved, reports circulated, and increasing numbers of visitors arrived. Whalers, seal hunters, traders, missionaries, and eventually, settlers. The consequences would be profound for both Maori communities and the future nation that would emerge. A land of fire. While human history unfolded, powerful geological forces continued shaping New Zealand. Few countries experience as much geological activity. The reason lies beneath the surface. New Zealand sits directly on the boundary between two massive tectonic plates, the Pacific Plate and the Australian Plate. These plates constantly move, colliding, sliding, and pushing against each other. The result is a landscape in motion. Mountains rise, fault lines shift, earthquakes occur, and volcanoes remain active. Nowhere is this more visible than the North Island. Here, geothermal energy bursts from the earth. Steam rises from cracks in the ground. Mud pools bubble continuously, and geysers shoot boiling water into the sky. The city of Aotearoa sits at the center of this geothermal wonderland. The smell of sulfur fills the air. Steam drifts across roads and parks, and the earth itself seems alive. For visitors, it feels almost otherworldly. Yet for locals, it is simply part of daily life. A reminder that beneath New Zealand's beauty lies immense power. Volcanoes of the North Island. Dominating the central North Island are several volcanic giants. Among them stands Mount Ruapehu, an active volcano rising nearly 3,000 meters above sea level. Its snow-covered slopes attract skiers during winter. Yet beneath the ice lies a restless geological system. Nearby stands Mount Ngauruho. Its perfect cone shape became famous worldwide after appearing in films as the fictional Mount Doom. But long before Hollywood arrived, these mountains held deep significance for Maori communities. According to tradition, the peaks were ancient warriors, their stories woven into the landscape itself. Today, volcanic activity continues shaping the region. Scientists closely monitor earthquakes and underground movements. Because the forces that created these mountains remain active, New Zealand's beauty is inseparable from its geological instability. The same forces that create breathtaking landscapes also create danger, and nowhere is that balance more apparent than here.